Welcome back to A Faster Me. We're out here at Tour de Murrieta, day one, so hopefully getting a little bit of revenge on last year. I was dropped and lapped in both races.
Hi guys, we're here at Tour de Murrieta, and then this is like my first time of competing, so you can see all the nervous and the jitters and stuff, but I'm counting to do my best today. So thank you, Ellen.
All right, so this is Tour de Murrieta, stage one. It's the women's 3, 4, 5, and we're off.
I got some bad news the night before the race, so I think I did not come quite mentally prepared to race, even though I thought I did, but you'll quickly see I just wasn't quite in it mentally. I think I had a little remnants also of just the chaotic race from Majestic, and I knew that this course was just a little bit sketchier in the corners with some cobblestones and a few more corners, so I think I just hung back just a little bit and wasn't quite in it.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're dealing with, a death, yeah, it's kind of hard. If I would have known you were racing like this, I would have probably suggested that you didn't race. It's not that you did anything bad, but with your mind not in the race like this, I mean, it could become a hazard at some times. Yes, you didn't do anything, dangerous. You're safe, but just mentally zoning in and out like this, yeah, it's not worth being out there. Could have just saved it for another day or another week even.
Well, I tried to save it for tomorrow, but but here, I'm just kind of sitting in, and it feels okay. I have Evy in front of me there, and I'm not feeling too bad. The pace is definitely, a little faster than some of the first races of the season.
Yeah, that turn right there, I mean, just got to have more confidence going into it. I lost a little confidence in my race as well going in there late in the race, but yeah, it's just, I don't know why. Everyone wants to go in so tight when it's a 90-degree turn, and you kind of got to take it from the right side. You got to go out, in, out with it, and so many people want to just hug that left side, and it's going to force you to run wide. And that's pretty much every turn, but for sure when it's 90 degrees or even less sometimes, you have to be wider than that when you take the turn.
Yeah, the women seem to slow down pretty good for the corners. Sometimes it feels like too much slowing down, but I'm fairly confident that that's where, whenever I do have a little gap, that I can make up pretty significant time.
Yeah, I mean, in our races, if we touch our brakes, it's a problem. We don't want to touch our brakes. We slow down by coasting, maybe sitting up a little bit, hitting a little bit more wind to scrub some speed off. And as your bike goes from upright to whatever lean angle you're going to be at, the friction in the tires change as well, and that is going to slow you down. So just keep that in mind, and as you practice that a little bit on your group rides and your regular rides, practice what speed you can take corners at, which ones you can, or how deep of an angle you can pedal through. You'll get a lot more used to just carrying speed and not touching your brakes.
And here I find myself behind Felicia, so I said, okay, she's a good wheel to follow. I know she'll be in contention towards the end, so that's what I'm kind of thinking here. It's nice to start to see a few more familiar wheels and faces, just having a little bit more experience.
Yeah, that last turn reminded me of the bubble. A lot of you guys are riding as if you're in a bubble, like a 4-foot bubble around you, and you don't want anyone coming inside of that bubble. So as soon as someone gets within a foot or two, that person reacts and veers left when they don't need to. Fortunately, if you hold your line, you can actually ride really close together without it being hazardous at all.
Well, here I was working on not being hazardous and riding just not near anybody. Had a gap. I did a lot of work this race. It was really hard just because I was not.
Well, you're just not there mentally, and ooh, that was pretty tough break in there. Almost ran into the back of her teammate's wheel. Yeah, should not be looking down. You have to look past the rider in front of you. Yeah, definitely don't look down at the wheel in front of you. It's a good way to, run into someone. You gotta be having your eyes up and looking at the peloton. Sometimes there's a crash that happened, 4 or 5 riders up, and it surprises me sometimes that the person that's behind will still run into that crash, even though they were, 5, 6 bike links back.
Well, you can see I didn't have that problem. I'm looking up ahead at the peloton the whole time, so there's nothing to worry about in this race. Safety first.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, you're definitely not in race mode today. Just, I don't know if you're just trying to see how many times you can catch on before getting dropped or what. Just let the gap open so you can chase. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah. Again, I got to give you kudos for the mental toughness because, yeah, I don't know if I would have, if I would even went out there on my bike. Life's more important than, sport, entertainment, and even lifestyle to a degree. And everyone needs a little bit of time to mourn and reflect.
Yeah, I see that I'm following Samantha here. I talked to her on day 2, so kind of nice to see the video and, find a new friend and
yeah, put faces to names and everything.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I got you. Samantha's chilling a little bit too here, it looks like. I think you guys are, both trying to see how big the gap can get before you pull it back.
Yeah, she said it was pretty tough, and it was fast out there. I was really putting in a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, not to beat a dead horse, but obviously, being in the pack's a lot easier. And once you fall off, that wind just doesn't feel so good. And you kind of think of like, oh, all of a sudden it got windy. But no, it was windy the whole time. You're just sitting there in shelter and protected.
And here, we had plenty of space going into that corner, and she came wide, and I think I said, kind of hold your line, and she said, oh, sorry.
Well, if you look at that, we don't do a lot of slow-mo and all that kind of stuff. It just, we can explain it through usually. But if you look at what happened, Samantha actually ran wide first, and the second rider target fixed on Samantha. She wasn't concentrating on her line. She looked at Samantha, and since Samantha ran wide, she ran on the same line towards Samantha. But that was a great job of you carrying speed, just going around the outside, and that was a good illustration that you don't need to use your brakes. And to me, this is amazing. In our races, there's no possible way I can get back onto the main peloton if I let a 100-yard gap open. Even if they slow down, it'll be hard for me to catch.
And I still felt like almost at any time I could just catch back up. And I think just having a little more confidence in cornering speed when you're out on your own. But then I also remember my first crit last year here at Murrieta, where I had that same feeling, and then I think in a lap I was dropped and then being lapped, possibly repeatedly. So I did have a little bit of that memory of at some point you can't catch back up, so it's best to just stay and conserve energy. But I was able to kind of catch back up, and
yeah, you're definitely way more fit this year than last year. You're a much better bike handler than last year, more experience. You've also been through a full race clinic now. So, and I don't mean full like an academy or anything, but yeah, we've had 3 race sessions with Nick Humby, and obviously they've paid off. It's, the small things matter, and just sometimes gaining a little bit of skill can go a long way.
yeah, I was still trying to kind of put my strategy in my head of which corners to go on the inside and where to go on the outside to make up turns, just because it is an L shape, so there is right and left hand turns. So I'm just kind of playing with where to pass people and where to move. I was thinking I'm going to be getting scolded in the video because I sure am feeling a lot of wind, and
if these were normal circumstances, oh yeah, there would be some scolding. You'd be locked in a closet for a week or something, watching old Lance Armstrong videos. I don't know. But you know, under the circumstances, no, I completely understand. I mean, like I said, when I was watching the race, every time you came by start finish, which you're probably timing it that way, like, oh, my husband's watching, I better speed up. Every time you came by start finish, you're just like the back of the peloton. So I was like, oh, you're just chilling. But then when I saw the video and see you're 100 yards, 200 yards back, I was like, okay, yeah, you just, you know, unfortunately, mentally just weren't there, and emotionally wasn't, you know, there's other heavier things on your mind than racing.
Definitely, and I was thinking of the situation as we raced, along with a whole lot of other things. But I do think that the corners, the tightness in those few corners on the backside, I was able to kind of make up some ground there.
Yeah, that's a bad strategy. You know? Yeah, I tail gun a lot, trust me, because I don't like touching my my brakes, my videos. Yeah, don't touch those videos. But yeah, I don't like touching my brakes, but that's opening up like a bike link or two, and just, you know, letting off the brakes and carrying corner speed. But yeah, when you open up 100 yards, 200 yards, yeah, you know, that's time trial mode. So
I did work a little bit on other ladies who were dropped a little bit. I did try to stay in their draft before passing, so I did try to conserve a little bit of energy here and there.
Yeah, it's a lot faster right now. If you look, you guys are all single file. So I don't know who's up there, but someone's pushing the pace at the front right now. And this is the time, as you can see, like you're putting down a little more watts now, because when it's single file like this, yeah, you definitely can't just catch back on. I see, who'd you guys have in the race? You guys had Go Fast, what's the other? Sisters of Cycling?
Sisterhood of Cycling.
Sisterhood
they
of
had
Cycling.
quite a few.
Yeah, they had a good turnout. And I can't remember who else was in there. SDBC, yes. And yeah, so you guys had a pretty good turnout, and there's a lot of teams representing. It's good to see, because this is, we're well into 2 months now into racing, and every one of your races has had over 20 people, if I'm not mistaken. And I just remember last year before COVID hit, I remember coming to some races and we had like 9 girls in a race, and it's been more than double that every race. So, you know, big pat on the back, shout out to all the girls that are competing and recruiting other girls to compete as well.
Yeah, a few of these laps I think were preems. I didn't listen to what they were for because I was just focused on trying to be in the group for this race. But a few of the laps, I think, got pretty fast.
What's kind of funny is just like the men's race or our race, you guys sprint up the front straight, which is a long sprint, and then for some reason, as soon as you get to that intersection before the start finish line, everyone slows down. Not exactly sure why, but that's just like the MO for that that little stretch there is like big sprint out of the corner, you know, accelerate all that you can uphill, and then slow down before the start finish line. When I'd much rather go through that turn 1 single file than with 4 or 5 people next to me.
Yeah, that big bump. There was a few corners in this race that were just brutal. So the dip in turn 1, then a few of the cobblestones, and then there's another corner that just seems to have a rough patch too. I think it's this corner that I was kind of formulating my strategy here to be able to go around the outside and then be set up to come inside on the next 2 corners.
Yeah, that corner is a good corner to go around the outside. Just because it's so sharp, people slow down so much, and since the next corner is a left hand, they usually go in tight and then they move to the right side of the road. So yes, you can carry a lot of speed on the outside of that corner and then take it like you're doing now, kind of the center of the lane, and move to the right a little bit later.
And that's what I was trying to do here.
Yeah, I hope you go across the double yellow. You don't. You take it kind of tight. I know you're good at cornering, but take it kind of tight, and that's a good speed through there. It's just you were a little bit narrow coming through. If you had been a little bit wider, you'd have carried even more speed. And I know it's a lot of it is just comfort, because even when we have the whole road and it's just two guys out front, we're pretty much elbow to elbow the whole time, and you guys give like 2-3 bites in between, 2-3, you know, a good 4 feet in between you guys when you ride 2 up. But again, there goes that big gap, and you keep closing it, so I got to give you credit for keep closing it, but it is a lot of work doing this on your own.
Yeah, my normalized power for the race was 209, which is close to my FTP. So I was definitely putting in some work for these close to 30 minutes. It was a little shorter than we ended up actually racing.
Yeah, well, I can't talk too much about that because my normalized was over my FTP for the 35 minutes.
Oh.
But it's okay because Marshall, he did 290 something watts, 95 or something for the 35 minutes of our crit, and I did, you know, way less than that. So I'm kind of proud to not do that much and finish a little higher, but we all need to work on our efficiency.
Yep, here I was just working on, you know, working hard.
Yeah, I see. To hell with a day off. Yeah. No, I think you're doing a great job. Like I said, cycling alone takes a lot of mental energy, a lot of concentration, and you know, when you're distracted at all, it's definitely makes it a lot tougher. So you're getting the physical and mental work out here today.
I think there was only one lap where I heard you guys saying something to me. Not sure if it was you and if Dustin was there or who was talking, but I heard move up on one of these laps, and
that was me and Connor Jones, one of our teammates. That was me and Connor. I think it was with 2 laps to go or so. We were yelling move up because you weren't in a bad position, and I think it was just before Evy goes off the front, so maybe it's 3 laps to go. I'm not sure, but you're maybe in about 6th, 7th, 8th position, maybe 9th or so, and we were just like, you know, move up a little bit because the pace was going to get hot. I see you guys are all back together again, one big happy family.
I know I finally came up and, you know, said something to Evie there. She did a great job just staying right in the mix at the front of this race.
So if you see in the middle here too, Sisterhood of Cycling, they're pretty much in a group together, and you know, it's not, I don't know if they plan to be this way or not, but that's one of the ways to just get over some of your nervousness is, you know, ride near people that you're comfortable with. And, you know, I've pretty much followed my teammate the entire race. And, yeah, it's a good way to kind of stay out of trouble. Or if you need to get back in from out of the wind, you can ask your teammate, hey, just let me in for a second or whatever. Protect each other a little bit.
It did feel nice right there in the middle. Had a lot less wind resistance.
Hey, there goes our friend out there, Sarah Vargas, to the outside, looking like a young pro, taking the fast line around the outside and putting a dig on. I can see the pace is picking up again too.
Out of corner 1, it seems like there was sprinting out of corner 1 every time, just like they're sprinting on the home stretch.
Honestly, coming out of corner 1, sprinting, if you want to pick the pace up and stretch it out or even go for a breakaway, it's not too bad because you got a little series here that's narrow. People are going to slow down. And one key to trying to get in a breakaway or trying to break away is once you're out of sight, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. And it's a good way to sneak off. If you can turn a corner before, you know, anyone gets there or whatever the case may be, some riders won't even know that you're off the front. And even though that person that's in second may not be willing to chase, the person that's behind them would if they could see you.
Well, we didn't have to worry about that this race. There was no chance of me breaking away, but Evie, we'll see pretty soon, is going to have a
little go at it.
A little go at a breakaway, and she did an awesome job.
It's a good job drafting here, trying to use someone else's energy a little bit to get up. Again, that's not the right line you want. That's to go in that tight. You can carry more speed. You can even pedal through these corners. I mean, and in our races, I pretty much pedal through most of them unless I'm going to run into the back of someone. But if you take a wider approach, yeah, you can pedal. Even if you soft pedal at first, just if you're not comfortable with it, so you don't scrape a pedal on the ground and cause a crash. But yeah, you can definitely carry more speed.
And there I just let her know that I was coming on her left. She was struggling a little bit you can tell when someone's using their whole body instead of their legs that it's not quite as easy.
Yeah, it's a great job here of using momentum to roll up, to move up. You're under 200 watts is like, yeah, that's a good blessing to be able to move that far to the Peloton under 200 watts. So
I think it's a little interesting. We're almost acting like there's a center line rule in effect. Everyone's just on the right side of the road, even though we can use the whole road.
yeah,
And I think here is where Evy.
yeah, she's on the front now, so she's probably winding it up.
Yeah, so I think she thought she launched from maybe further back, but it looks like she was taking a hard pull, and then she's going to be off the front as we come around this next corner.
Go, Sarah. Oh, I don't think she can hear me. But no, she.
You almost fooled me. No.
No, I gotta shout out Sarah again. She does a great job, and I want to say she had a top 15. I think today, maybe even a top 10. I can't remember what the results were. Ooh, and that's a really tight line by the young lady in front of us here. Hugging the curb like that, like you can't do anything but go across the street basically. And if there were riders coming from behind, from the outside, she would have basically just cut them off. And I don't mean to call her out or anything. I'm just trying to put something in their ear to maybe take a safer line in the future.
And here I do notice that Evy is off the front. So I am going to try to get to the front. This was my one real race move. I'm going to make it to the front, and if I can, maybe kind of have a little slower pace. And then I was committed to, if anybody chases, I was going to chase them. Wasn't sure how long I could hold on to that person, or if I could put in any kind of attack if we caught Evy, but I was committed to getting up to the front and really chasing whoever tried to chase her down.
Yeah, I saw the young lady up there in the yellow. I don't know if that's LA Bike Club, but I saw the young lady up there in the yellow jersey. It looked like she was talking to the other riders, and they were wondering if Evy's off the front or if she's off the back. And they accelerated just a little bit, but I don't think they were sure yet if she's on the front or if she's lapped.
They knew she was on the front because I heard them saying she might hold on for the win.
It's a good job moving up here too. I'm sorry to cut you off, but rider 608 moved up, and you got in her draft and moved up to the front. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. But they definitely were wondering she might hold on and win it because she had a pretty good break, and I was hoping. I really felt like this is a big enough gap, and she has a lot of power. I was excited to think that we might have a win for the season, and here I'm committed to chasing down if anybody goes after her.
Well, we pretty much thought it was in the bag as well. I forgot that this was a 3-4-5 race, and I thought it was just the 4-5s. And I thought, okay, Evy's pretty strong. Like, she definitely can take it off the front here.
And this was the last lap, and even though I was on the front, it only took about 2.5 seconds, and I was swarmed and no longer on the front.
Yeah. Well, honestly,
not sure how fast that can happen, but
yeah,
pretty quick.
Honestly, you pinched yourself off there a little bit by hugging that inside line there. And again, if you go too tight, you can't carry speed. So a lot of riders just kind of took the outside line and sped right by you.
Yeah, it felt like a swarm. I know it's only maybe 10 or 15 riders, but I felt swarmed.
Well, it is. It's actually it's closer to 20 riders, and yeah, I mean the pace is hot now. They're definitely chasing her right now, and she's still out there. So yeah, definitely chasing hard. They're not gonna let her take this victory.
And I'm really thinking she had it, and so I was just thinking of when I could possibly sprint and try to do a little something, even though I'm hurting right now.
And ladies, I know a lot of people may say something different, but that attack that Evie did, this is really where a power meter does come into play, not only for your training, but for when you do long attacks like this. In your training with the power meter, if you know how much power you can hold for say 2 minutes, 3 minutes, things like that, you have less chance of popping in the race when you go on an attack. Because when you're using perceived effort, you almost always go either too hard or too soft. And more often than not, it's too hard and then you blow up.
Here we're coming into the final stretch, and I was trying to sprint and I just did not have much in me.
Yeah, it's all those efforts from before and just a little mental fatigue. And yeah, I mean, we're just going to throw this race out. It's over, and you know, it's under some heavy circumstances, so you did the best you could on the day, and yeah, it's gone. It's a learning experience.
I was happy with the results. Last year just getting dropped and lapped, and this year kind of finishing at the back of the pack. I was satisfied.
Hey, great effort, Evie. Welcome back to a Faster Me. I am gassed after a very tough 3-4-5 race here at Murrieta. Evie did great breaking away at the end. I thought she held on for the victory. I was in the wind most of the race. I just was not feeling it today. It was definitely tough. But
Hi guys, it's me again. So we're at the end of our Tour de Murrieta. It's a Cat 3-4-5 race. It's pretty brutal. I'm trying to hang on as much as I could, but these ladies, they're all amazing. Like, I have to give a shout out for all of them. I'm trying to hang on as much as I could, try to be safety cyclist as much as I could, and hopefully I did great and better next time.
and what'd you try with just a couple laps to go?
I tried to break away, sneaking in the inside on the last 3 laps. My effort a little bit succeed because I was able to hold like the first positions for the last 2 laps, but on the very end, on the last lap, everybody just swarmed me because I'm already gassed out. So here's for the next one, I guess.